I'm also told that I have photogenic hands, which makes me really very odded out by the person who noticed this. Because I'm like, who's looking at people's hands?
You'll be surprised. I mean, there's the whole internet thing about people's feet.
Well, I
So,
know that, but but the feet thing is a known thing, and like, yes, I still find it strange, and I'm not gonna kink shame them, but I do still find it strange. But at least with feet, like you know it's a thing. With hands, I forget that's even a thing. So for someone to notice it, it does throw me off a little. I mean, there is a difference though for hands depending on why people notice it. For example, I know what hand type you have specifically based on palm reading.
oh right, yeah, I forgot that we did that ages ago. Like that was just like such a one-off thing that I just completely forgot about that.
I started off weak, but it finished strong.
Were you like an earth hand or something? Wait, no, were you an earth
No, I'm
hand?
fire hand. I'm a fire hand.
Fire hand. I think I was a water hand.
You're a water hand.
Yeah,
So,
cause I had like a stubby fingers or something.
well, no, water hands have they have a tendency to have smaller or nimbler fingers. Um, Earth hands have very thick, stout fingers,
Yes, I remember that.
and fire hands have right in between where they're not really thick, but they are muscular hands. Like they have shape. What's the term? Muscle?
Basically, your palm is like like thick, and you're like because like basically I think it was the main two distinguishing features of of this palm ringing was length of fingers and the thickness of fingers.
Yeah, the length and the thickness because it helps you to determine the crevices that are there and the size and shapes of them.
Yeah, obviously, like the palm kind of has an impact too, but like the main two things I remember was thickness and length of the fingers. So
Yes. And water hands are, like I said, they're nimble fingers. They're thinner fingers. They're nimble. They actually tend to be much better at things like drawing and musical instruments.
yeah, no, I was always terrible at musical instruments. I am pretty good at arts and crafts though.
Yes, you are. Um, Earth hands are generally considered to be much better at the things that take a lot of strain, like physical activities or things that specifically require forceful directional movement. While fire hands happen to be pretty good in both, but they don't necessarily exceptionally stand out in one thing unless they're practicing it. So they can do both, but they have to actively be used for those things consistently. For example, I could learn how to twirl a pen in my hand, but I have to actively really practice twirling a pen in my hand consistently. I know that's a very, very minor thing to learn, but
I mean, a weird thing that I've learned is I can whistle inward and outwards.
oh, hmm,
Like funny enough, I learned to whistle inwards before I learned to whistle outwards. Basically, for audience who don't understand that, it's basically like when you whistle, you normally are forcing air outwards when you whistle. But I've learned to like suck in air when I whistle.
yeah, I can
Because you
do
get
the
the
same.
different sound waves when you do that.
I can do the same, but I did learn to whistle inwards before I learned to whistle outwards. You're right. I never actually learned to whistle outwards. It just like because I just whistled outwards and I was like, I can do that.
Yeah,
So it's a matter of like I guess it's a matter of when and where. I don't know.
yeah, because it's just like one of those things. Like learning how to blow a bubble, kind of. Because I never learned how to do that.
Hmm. I remember being young and being really annoying because blowing a bubble was something that when I did learn it,
You
I
did
did
it
it
all the
everywhere.
time.
Yes, everywhere. I
Yeah.
would go to school bathrooms to wash my hands without having to go to the bathroom, just to go back into the classroom and blow bubbles at people. I'm pretty sure that might have gotten me in trouble. I don't remember it getting me in trouble though. I think it was just too innocent to make problems.
Probably.
I don't know. I was a weird kid.
Yeah, I mean, we all do weird things when we're young. Just,
Have you ever heard of the boat of Theseus? I'm joking.
oh, yeah.
Um, or no, the tale of Theseus.
I'm probably for the viewers at least on my channel. I'm probably not gonna keep this all in one particular video, so you probably see me split this up into multiple parts. So if there's not a particular intro, but there is an ending, that's probably why.
Oh man. Oh, um. So thanks to you, I learned how to family share on Steam.
Wait,
Um.
have you never learned how to do that?
Okay. Let me put it this way. I never knew what family share was until you told me, and I was sitting here like, family share. That sounds familiar.
Which I
And I
don't
was like, oh yeah, I remember now.
think, which I never family shared with you. I don't think.
No, I can family share my games too if you want.
I, to be fair, I think I have three people sharing to me, and I think I'm sharing to three people right now.
Me too.
Yeah, so I can do it to two more people if I wanted to.
I can family share my games to you. I don't know what games I have.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't play enough games to know what I have.
I mean, I have plenty of games where I don't know if you'll like any of them though.
I mean, I have a Steam Deck, so if they work on a Steam Deck, that's fun.
I think they probably might, but I have no idea.
If they don't, I can always just switch it over to a wireless mouse and controller for the Steam Dock.
I know all of my games work on PC though. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, almost all Steam games do, or I think all Steam games do. They should.
Yeah, they should. They should.
If they don't, then there's a problem with the game. But yeah, no, I've been trying to figure out what Steam Deck and don't. There are some games I would advise you try out that I have. I think. I don't know what games I have that I can advise though. I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of FPS.
Yeah, I don't really play shooters, so you don't have to worry about that.
I'm fairly garbage at FPS.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if you like shooters, that's primarily the game you're gonna play.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I've just
Um,
never been a shooters person myself.
I've always struggled to find games specifically because most games end up being FPS.
Is that? Are you sure? Because I've found at least over 100 games that are not shooters.
We also have to remember that I'm only kind of cultured.
I literally just go through the Steam queue, and that's how I get all my games, pretty much.
I do as well, but for some reason all I get are FPS.
You just need to change up your queue then. Like, go actually like follow games and view other games.
I mean, I've got a few games here and there that aren't like I got a game on my queue called Do Not Feed the Monkeys.
I am concerned.
And it was a lot of fun.
I sure it was. I'm just concerned by the title.
I can explain. I think you would actually like this game.
Again, I am concerned by the title.
I assure you the title is only a little accurate. It
Okay.
sounds like so it is a digital voyeur. So it is a digital voyeur simulator where you watch strangers through surveillance cameras. You
Okay.
invade their privacy and witness their most intimate moments, but you must not interact with them. Anything could happen if you dare to feed the monkeys.
Again, that sounds concerning.
So what it is you're playing a game where you're looking through private cameras that are randomly located and randomly placed in different situations that is in the place where they shouldn't be.
Oh, like the
And
bathroom or something.
well, no, not like a bathroom, but there are some of them that are in locations that they have no reason to be in, like in someone's basement in an abandoned house that no one uses anymore. And so some of the cameras are useless because that's all they are.
Okay.
But then there are other cameras that have stories. And those stories, when you give information to the company that you're working for, you get money for it because you have to pay attention to these stories and you have to balance your daily life as well.
Oh,
So you have to balance.
kind of like a more expansive observation duty.
Yes, like a more expansive observation duty, except there are different stories actually happening, and some of these stories you can learn based off of observation and like figuring the things out alone. So, like for example, I'm going to spoil this a little bit. There's a story about an old man who survived World War II, and he is in a nursing home, and his name is John Doe,
Hmm.
and he firmly believes that everybody was wrong about the Nazis.
Hmm.
And he's a very old man, and once again, he's a strange man, but as you come to find out, he's this game's version of Hitler.
Hmm.
And you find this out almost immediately just by looking at him.
I mean, I'm not that surprised.
So in this universe, Hitler escaped and nobody knows it. And so you have to find out a way to get information on him to figure out if he's Hitler or not, so that when the company asks you about him, you can send them information to know where he is. So that they can go get him because he's fucking Hitler. So,
That does sound pretty interesting, actually. Just because it's like I like the idea of just trying to figure out who certain people are just based off cameras' perspectives.
oh, there's other parts to it too. So you get keywords based off the conversations and the circumstances around the room, and you can take those keywords and research them on the in-game tab for the internet to get extra information about the people. And so if you get the right information, there are other ways to link sites and
Oh
keywords
god, this
together.
reminds me of a game that I heard where it's basically like, what was it called? The whole plot of the game was this woman, I think, like, did a crime and she, like, and basically you have to watch all of her confession tapes and you have to figure out the order. I,
Ah,
I don't
that
remember.
sounds
I
that
don't,
sounds fun.
yeah, I don't remember what the game is called though. That's the problem.
If you ever do remember the name of the game, please let me know because that sounds really fun.
Give me a sec. I can actually pull this up.
That sounds a lot of fun. I love like detective like games where you have to. But here's the other thing: while you're doing all of that, there is also the issue that you have finances in your real game. So you're trying to do all of this to get information on all of these different parties, right?
yeah.
But you also have to go work because in that game you have to pay for rent. So it's about managing time, it's about managing your hunger, it's about managing your health, and it's about managing making sure that you get cameras finished so that you can get money. But the goal is to have a certain amount of cameras by the end of a certain amount of time. And the cameras cost money to buy new ones.
I okay.
Some cameras actually have night vision on them,
Okay. So
or require night vision.
let's see what. Okay. I think I got the name. So I believe, yeah. So the video game is called Her Story.
Story I have to see. Hold on.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
it's basically a non-literal story where it's like a police database and you have to type up certain key phrases and stuff. And it's when I watched it, it was really interesting. I probably would never play it on this channel just because I get super frustrated by puzzles sometimes. But
It's an award-winning game. I have to play it though.
yeah. Hey, you could totally play it on your channel sometime.
If I were to play it on my channel, would I be able to get you on board for trying to help me play it?
I would totally be willing to help you play it at some point.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of fun.
I just stuck that into my wish list. I'm getting it later. That is something I have to touch. Oh, but the reason why, so this is Do Not Feed the Monkeys is a game I would like you to try playing. Like I said, it is all about juggling money, juggling time, juggling food, juggling health, and there are other things that you have to juggle too, like people knocking on your door.
Hmm.
And when they knock, like of course during certain events, time will
Oh,
freeze.
like, what was that hacking game called that people that like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and all those were playing?
Are you talking about the one where you're hacking on the blacknet
Yes.
or the darknet?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking. It's sort of like that, yes, except with the camera parts as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of parts to it.
Yeah, I was when we were playing it, like I was like, I totally want to play that, but at the same time, I'm like, I would be scared out of my mind because I don't do well with. I mean, I'm decent at horror, but I'm not like amazing at horror, which people know. Whenever I play Minecraft, I see a mob, I immediately be like, die, because I'm like, I can't,
Because you don't know what it is.
no, because I'm terrible in just Minecraft situations where there's monsters all over the place.
Yeah, I get that. Worse
Which
than
I feel like that's totally gonna be clipped at some point. I don't know why.
probably. Monsters are worse than haters.
You suddenly got quiet. I didn't hear what you're saying.
I said monsters are usually worse than players.
Damn, you're away from your mic.
Monsters are usually worse than players.
It depends on the context, I guess.
Like when we were in that one really bad server,
Oh, right.
I don't know what was wrong with that server. Everybody there was salty, but there was one instance in which I looked in the woods and there was this giant nightmare creature just standing at the edge of the forest staring at me.
I think that
And
was
it
just
was
the
like,
mods, I think.
it was the mods, yes, but he was translucent and he was almost perfectly invisible. And the only reason I recognized him was because I was already on high alert because I was about dead. And I looked up at him and he was just standing there. And he was the tallest mob I had ever seen. And like, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what I was looking at. It was like, because when I first looked at him, it was like I looked, and for some reason, my brain made me stop moving. And I didn't know why, because I didn't see him at first. And I was standing there like, it's nighttime. I should be running. Why am I not moving? And then my eyes widened when I slowly started to recognize what was right in front of me. And I was like, how did I miss that?
Mm. It's definitely one of
It's
those
like,
things.
just slowly back away and keep staring at him.
Yeah. Which I'm excited if you ever join the other one that we have going on right now.
Oh, I will. It'll be a bit before I do, but I definitely will join. Part of the reason why I haven't yet is because I don't even remember how to apply the mods. I completely
So
forgot.
this is not CurseForge. This is Prism. So you basically just download the zip and get obviously have the Prism thing, and then once you have Prism, you just add instance, input the zip, and then that's it.
Okay, gotcha. That's much easier.
Yeah,
All right, but yeah, no, Sheesh.
yeah.
I don't know.
Some of those people were just like some of them were great. Some of them were definitely a lot more active than other people. It's just that
Yeah,
like got that one person though who was on our team was just like I thought they would be a
there is
pretty chill person, but they weren't.
there is someone who stole everything in my house.
Which is the same person that I was talking about.
Yeah, because if you remember, I was going out of my way to click. Because here's the thing: on that server, I had no idea what the power system was at all. I understood nothing. I was clueless. I think it was pretty obvious I was clueless. Um, but I would go out of my way to get hunt every single thing I found, and I kept getting really rare items. Like if you remember, I literally got a void worm, and then I got the item that you get when you kill a void worm, and then I put those in my house only for like trophies
Yeah.
because I was like, I have all these cool, unique mod items, and I don't know what they do, and this mod doesn't really have any main game thing going on, so I'm just gonna put these here. Because something that we came to find out very quickly is that the worm was not taken into account when those mods were put together.
Yeah.
It was not scaled to the weaponry that were in the mod,
Yeah.
which meant that anybody, including the moderators, who tried to go and kill the worm would die. And I know this because I activated the worm and people kept trying to go in and kill it and everybody kept dying.
Yeah.
It was just really bad. I did end up entity cramming it though. So I cheesed it, killed it, got its item, and then put it into my house. And because because it's an item that makes a really overpowered weapon or something, it got stolen with all of my shit. And then I went into my house and there was nothing there.
Yeah, which the only thing that I ever took out of the house was like saplings and food.
I
And like
mean, like, I
seeds.
wouldn't have cared if someone had at least told me and if it wasn't on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because all of the rarest things were on the shelf.
Yeah.
Like, there was a shelf mod. I was not going to just not use it.
Yeah, so some of the common mods that you might recognize that are in the server that I know that you would probably know is Villagers Come Alive, Botany Pots, and Inferium.
Villagers Come Alive just sounds mortifying, but it
No,
is
basically that like you can talk, look, you can actually talk to them and like give them gifts and that kind of thing.
AI. I swear, I'm joking,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, having the villagers be more interactive definitely would be better in normal Minecraft.
Yeah, and there's another mod where it's like you actually are able to like build up an actual town, which is pretty cool. That's one of the other people are doing right now.
Mm,
Yeah.
gotcha. I would really like to get back into a bit of Minecraft. There are some games that I would probably do game series of, but that's the other reason. Like I said, I'm going to have a second channel.
Yeah, which I
So,
yeah one of my favorite mods on it is actually the Origin mod. I don't know if you know that one.
Origin mod.
Yeah, basically like your
I have
Phantom, Skulk, that kind of thing.
I have a private Origin.
Yeah.
I have a custom made Origin actually.
Well, we don't do the custom mod stuff here, so we're like
No, I
custom.
know. I understand that. I'm just letting you know I have a custom Origin.
What's your Origin?
I don't remember. Oh, it's right here. Main screen. I have to open it real quick so I can actually see what it is. Uh, mods. The morph. I don't know what morph that is, but I think it was like, what was it? It was a something wraith.
Mm.
I don't remember the name of it. It was some kind of wraith. Let me look it up.
Yeah,
I
in
can tell you
this
what.
in the one that we're in, I'm a phantom. It's a pain in the butt to do doing stuff during the day because you you burn.
Uh, I can tell you what the ability of my morph was, but I don't remember what the name of it was.
Maybe it was a custom or Minecraft origin thing.
I mean, I know it was a custom morph itself, but I don't remember what the name of it is because I'm trying to find it right now. Um, what the morph itself did was it could teleport, and it could also go intangible.
So kind of
But
like
in the
a mix of like the Endarian and the Phantom.
well, sort of, it had three abilities. It had teleportation, the ability to fly, but it could not phase through objects in daylight.
Hmm.
Like if it was directly outside on like ground level and in the daylight, it could not phase.
Hmm. I'm actually
All of
kind
its
of
abilities. Hmm?
I'm actually kind of curious about that mod.
All of its abilities charge slower, or like its phase, like its flight ability charges slightly slower during the daytime because it doesn't have a charge bar. So there's a charge bar for its abilities, and it uses the same charge bar that it does for hovering, that it or like phasing that it does flight. But when you're underground and you're phasing, you can still fly
Hmm.
technically, but it basically makes your bar go down faster. Um, and then your teleportation also has a charge bar, but it also comes with the downside. I remember what it was. I was an Ender Wraith.
Huh. Yeah, that's a different one from the normal like origin mod that we're using because there's only nine
Yeah,
beings.
it was a custom origin. I remember because I got that. Like I went through the process of making an actual like charge bar.
Hmm.
Is this the one? I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the morph. I have the file right here. But the morph also had one other downside. That was a pretty major one.
What was it?
It can't touch water.
So yeah, I'm imagining like a mix of Endarian and Phantom, like in
Yeah,
the.
it was a mix of Endurian and Phantom, and it had another upside where when it's in a certain like darkness level, like when your character is within a certain darkness level, you have a longer reach and you deal more damage. But if you're in broad daylight, your reach like is normal. And the reason why that was because it was a specifically a custom morph that I made for like an actual story written server. So it wasn't just a morph; it was a morph that I wrote for a specific character.
I just accidentally put my armor's shin guard on backwards.
You accidentally did what?
You know what how like directional things like you put something on in a certain direction. I accidentally put it on this dude's like armor guard on backwards.
Ooh, that's a whoops.
I forgot because I forgot direction is a thing.
But yeah, and then I remember a friend of mine who was playing on that server with me at the time made their own mod as well. Um, they made themselves an Ender Dragon.
Not overpowered at
Which,
all, I'm sure.
well, it was really annoying because at the time when I made mine trying to be really fair and taking into account what it was because it's like, okay, I can't touch water. That sucks. That's really bad. I can't use my flight ability in daytime. That is basic, or I can't use my like phase ability in daytime. That's really bad. My charge bar charges really slowly during the daytime. My charge meter is like the best thing about this. And I also have no combat advantages during the daytime. The only thing I can do during the daytime is teleport, and even then I have a limited amount of teleports. But
Oh,
then
was
by
that the first
nighttime,
server that you showed me ages ago?
it might have been.
Yeah, because I popped on and then I was just never joined again. This was probably like 2 years ago, maybe?
Was it the written story server thing that I had
Yes.
made?
Yeah.
Like with the underground layer and all that?
Yeah.
Yes, it was made originally for the idea of that server. But that server literally never went anywhere because nobody was interested.
Mm.
That was fairly disheartening, to be completely honest.
It happens
Because
sometimes.
it does, but you knew I was very into the idea of writing a story at that given time.
Yeah.
Sometimes Minecraft make things eh.
Yeah.
On the topic of Steam games,
Yes.
there's another game that I think I was because I have Cult of the Lamb as well. I know you probably would want to try that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try Cult of the Lamb. I didn't have, like, I didn't get it myself, I don't think.
Well, if I Steam share my games to you, you can play Cult of the Lamb. Um, see here. Of course, there's Undertale.
Yeah. Obviously.
I don't know what Dark. I don't know what Vestige is. It looks like a. It's a game you play with a sword.
Give me a second. I think I heard of Vestige.
I own it. Oh, it's a game you play with a sword. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a third-person action platformer,
Uh,
student-made game where you play as a small adventurer eager to uncover forgotten secrets.
hmm. Interesting.
Oh,
Trying to decide what
whoa!
kind of want deciding what I want to do for boots. I guess brown's okay for boots.
Brown, black, gray. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the lore of this. So,
oh, have you ever played VRChat?
uh, you're not the first person to suggest it to me, actually.
I'm not.
You're literally the third person to be like, you should come play VR chat with us.
Well, with caution.
Yeah, obviously with caution.
Uh, but yeah, VRChat's a great place to find cool people and make some connections. Not as many people play it as they used to due after the fix, but that should be fixed after they decide to actually do something to VRChat.
What do you mean the fix?
So VRChat is just VRChat, right?
Yeah,
Like there's no extra things to it. It's just people hanging out.
yeah.
A lot of people go on there after work, but there are a lot of problems with VRChat.
I mean, I can
And one of
imagine
those,
because it's
well,
cross-platform between PC and Ocular Rift and all the other like things.
yeah, and as a result, there are a lot of things that should be in VRChat that just aren't. And so people would mod those things in, and they're very basic fixes that essentially add what should already be added. And then VRChat added an anti-cheat system that made it so that people couldn't do that.
Mm.
Why?
Mm.
Because people kept because there were a lot of people in the game that would run softwares that would just basically do nothing but crash your PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's dumb, but I guess it's better than doing it in the first place. So,
But the problem with that is that a lot of people that almost never happens. It rarely ever happens.
mm,
And when it does, literally what you do is you turn your PC back on, or you just have a software that prevents that from happening.
yeah, which most people probably wouldn't do.
Which most people probably do because it's very easy to implement. It's one YouTube away or one YouTube video away from implementing. So that obviously caused issues. And a lot of people were not happy with the fact that they basically made it so that something people did to essentially eliminate one of the problems they had with their game and made it very playable, they removed. And a lot of people were very upset with VR chat because it's like, what's the point of doing that?
Yeah,
So a lot of people stopped playing VR chat, but most people were like, whatever, and kept playing anyways.
yeah.
Like me, for example, I really don't care. It's not that personal to me. Like it's just VR chat.
Yeah.
But um it can be a lot of fun if you're with the right crowd and you understand the environment.
Yeah.
Other times it's just awkward or sad because you can go into places where people are just having fun and hanging out and going to places and you make friends.
And then you never see that person again.
Well, you can make friends on VR chat.
Yeah.
Like there's a VR chat account that you can make that can ensure that you can always see those people again if you ever go on.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're right, you never do see that person again. Unless you happen to like friend them on Discord, but something that's a pretty common case is that that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You meet someone on VR chat and it's a place that's away from everything. And it's like, wow, I made a really great friend here. I hope I see this really cool person that I had a great time with sometime, and then you never see them again. And you're like, wow, that guy was really cool.
Yeah.
And it hits.
Yeah.
And other times it hits in completely different ways, where you will go on VR chat and everybody will be off doing their own thing. You don't really find anybody to click with or connect to. There's no place where that's really happening. Because there are so many worlds and the worlds are constantly changing and updating that sometimes those spaces that you randomly had that one instance with isn't there anymore, or it's just not the same.
Mm.
For example, I met the voice actor for Alistair in VR chat,
That's actually really cool.
and I met him in a drinking game.
Why am I not surprised?
It was a bunch of guys who just got off work, who sat down at a table and did a spin the bottle for drinking.
Again, why am I
It was,
not surprised?
it was a spin the bottle truth or dare. And he was the only other person at the table who wasn't drinking beer. He was drinking vodka just like me. And it was a great night.
I can imagine.
But once again, with those crazy weird instances in life that can only ever happen on VR chat, it's like they're special, rare instances. And so many times you're constantly grasping to reach an instance like that again. Unless you know the community. And
Yeah.
the moment you understand how the community works, that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, but it takes time to understand how the community works. And once you understand how like the space of it works, you will never end up going to a world that no one's in ever again. You will always find people who vibe, but it's a lot of fun. It is so much fun, but you can't spend too much time on there.
Obviously, because then you just get absorbed into just the
That world will eat you alive.
yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way. But it's a pretty fun place to go sometimes. It's why I go there occasionally. And usually when I go, it's more or less because I'm checking up on the friends that I have there than actually me wanting to be there. And if they're there, then I'll stay for a bit. But it's one of those things, you know?
Yeah.
It's an otherworldly, it's almost like an otherworldly experience that you have to experience at least once. It's not for everyone,
Yeah.
but it certainly is something.
Yeah.
I would not advise you go in alone, though.
Definitely not. I am probably not even gonna go in the first place just because it doesn't feel like my cup of tea.
Yeah, there are a lot of desperate people out there. That's how it works.
Yeah. Because the internet is just a wonderful space, isn't it?
Kind of. Kind of. I mean, I'm looking forward to the time where we don't have to rely on VR chat anymore.
Yeah, technology is gonna be weird in the future.
Like, I look forward to the time period in our life where we can basically actively, like, almost mentally insert ourselves into any world or environment and feel the physical sensation of us, like, twirling around in space without
God,
having to suffocate and die.
that's gonna be so weird.
And I mean, it'll be weird, all right, but it'll be very fun, and people will be having the wildest parties. Because here's the thing: the closest thing we have to that, because the closest thing we already have in our current day to that is we have VR chat, and then we have people with phantom sense. And people with phantom sense are people who have to disassociate so much that in order to enjoy VR chat enough, they have to physically feel that which happens in VR chat
Yeah.
versus, actually being able to have those experiences without having to be there in person. And the reason why that's important is because I feel like that's the first step in not just virtual spacing, but also neurological mapping.
Yeah, probably.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you think about it, our mind is an individual space. It is a virtual space that our body stimulates through neurons.
Yeah, because there's literally millions of cells that are all just together being programmed by millions of more cells that somehow just happen to work together. And it's just like they work together just because of sheer happenstance.
Well, yes, but also it's the same way that programming is if you really think about it really hard.
Which is
Programming,
why the
yes.
whole
So
simulation conspiracy theory exists.
yes, it's why the simulation exists. It's why the simulation conspiracy theory exists. I'm fumbling my words, but on that notion, it means it is possible to do neurological mapping, and through that logic, it is possible to literally just share memories if we learn how to pick apart neurological mapping.
Literally,
We
I
can
just want to be able to record dreams in the future because that would sound fun.
Well, I mean, dreams are literally just memories that we experience in our sleep, are they not?
Yeah, but like, what, like, why does our brain come up like the ability to fly or something? Like,
Well, that's more of a desire, I imagine. That's
it,
something we want to do.
yeah. Like, there's so many like bizarre dreams that people have, and like that come up with like the greatest stories because of a dream, and it's just like, ha what process led your brain to come with up with the story of a murder mystery of five people living in a mansion or something? I don't know, but like, uh,
Listen, Markiplier is a genius. Don't ask him.
yeah, no, it just there's so many weird things that happen just from dreams. It's like how like I don't even know like how some people come from step A to from point A to point B.
Sometimes it doesn't always make sense, but at the same time, it's like there are things that are so absurd that people were like, I could never think of this on my own, but you did.
Because that's your
How?
brain.
And yes, it's we want to understand the process of how we think of these things. That's why like, and this is what I mean by sharing memories, having the ability to perfectly, and because that's the other thing. When it comes to sharing memories, do you know what one thing incredibly important to our world is that seems to be never really acknowledged?
That our memories are flawed because every time we remember something, it gets construed and then replaced.
Not only that, but also the nature of our memories is that we will always perceive the world differently than other people do, and
Yeah.
thus people will never be able to feel exactly the same thing that we're trying to describe.
Yeah, exactly. Two people who are like standing right next to each other, watching something very bizarre, like like roasting s'mores, are not gonna feel the same exact thing.
Exactly, and we don't have any way to truly share that with future generations or the past. And with this idea, it's the idea of we can't really change the world until we have the ability to do that properly. I truly believe that until we have the ability to share memories properly with one another in a way in which we can completely understand because we have no other way to not, if you can sit there and literally experience someone else's memory, you have to understand.
Yeah, or at least should be able to understand. That's the key thing.
Yeah, you should be able to. Logically, by definition, you should be able to. But the idea is it's the ability to, it's like it's giving you the complete sensation. Unless you have an absolute lack of that ability because you're a sociopath or something, there's no way. And even then, you might still be able to have those sensations shared with other people. You might literally cure someone of sociopathy. And I know that sounds impossible, but if you think about the logic of what I'm explaining, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's such an in-depth and detailed thing that it's absurd that we don't put more time into it, but that's also why I'm trying to build what I'm building. My what I'm building isn't just a passion project. What I'm building is also centered around that. I want to build something that gives me the influence and ability, have the money to fund these kind of projects.
Yeah.
Not only to change the future, but hopefully if I can't do it, maybe I can inspire the next person to do it.
Heck, I mean, on my channel, I have 67 people who are subscribed to me, so maybe you're inspiring one of them to start out that project right now.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the
I would hope
bizarre
so.
thing. Like, I have people from all over the world. Like, I have a person who's watching from Australia. I have a person who's, I think, watching from, I think someone from like Asia, somewhere in Asia, I think. So it's like they're just watching just because they're interested in my content. I'm just like, wow, you guys like my content? I'm surprised.
I mean, that's just how it is, and that's like I said, it's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, no, like realistically, to be able to do these things, I feel like people underestimate just how important it is to content creators and people as a whole. We're people before we are content creators. That is something that will always be a fact.
Yeah.
we have our passions and desires, but our drive to create is based on what our drives are from us as people. We have things in our lives that push us to want to create these things for different reasons, whether we have the passion of doing it by itself or we have a passion that is centered around what we create. Some people just do it for fun. Some people really have a goal to change things. And usually it starts out for fun, but people oftentimes end up trying to change things while having fun.
Yeah.
It is both about the journey and the goal. But I mean, we're over here talking about such larger than life things. I feel like I keep bringing it to that. I don't mean to, but
No, you're good. It's fun.
whenever I talk, I always end up forcing people to use their head.
Sometimes you just gotta do that.
Yeah, that's true.